Hello and welcome to the MP podcast. I am your host, Moraya, creator and founder of Mastering Progress, and I am so excited to be here. We are at the Posh Content Studio. We have changed our locations, and I'm so excited because we needed a little uplift here. And so we are here, and I think one of the topics I wanted to cover on this podcast before the year ends, especially at this time, is antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds, because now it has officially been a year of me being off of my antidepressant. Now, when you ask me which one I was on, I could probably look it up. I think it was Lexapro. If I'm going to be honest though, I did have a long journey with antidepressants because I grew up in a family, as many do, especially African American, Black families. We don't really talk about mental health. I grew up in a household where I was told no one cares about your feelings. So we don't care about your feelings. Keep it moving. That's it, right? And I think, let me just say this. I do think it's important to kind of take that into business, that no one cares about your feelings, because no one does. The world keeps moving and you kind of have to keep going with it. So in business, no one cares about your feelings. My parents are absolutely right in saying that in business, but I wasn't in business. I was a child growing up, and now I'm an adult who doesn't know how to regulate her emotions or really understand how she's feeling and then be able to express that appropriately. So do I think you should be telling a child that no one cares about their feelings? No, maybe not. But I do think it's important to be taught that if you want your child to succeed in corporate or business or the real world. But dialing it back, that's a conversation for another day. I didn't start taking antidepressants until it was sometime in college. It was actually, so my freshman year of college, I did go to a psychiatrist because I had I was assaulted on campus. There was this whole thing. They suggested that I go see a psychiatrist because it was a little traumatic. Won't dive into that. We'll save that for 2026. But they suggested I go see a psychiatrist and a therapist because I had a lot of unhealed trauma, which a lot of us do. And it's okay to have trauma. It's okay. Trauma is life. What's not okay is when you put that onto other people. But anyway, they told me that, so I went. I saw a psychiatrist. I remember that prescription she gave me was for Prozac, I think that's what it was. I still have that subscription to this day. I never went and filled it because I felt like I was kind of gonna let my parents down if I started taking an antidepressant. And then it got to a point in my life where I was like, oh no, I need to take an antidepressant because we were getting more and more suicidal. When I say we, sorry, I do talk in the third person, so I'm working on it, but getting more and more suicidal and thinking about death and leaving this world, which It's hard because everyone's like, oh, you shouldn't think like that. Oh, this, and the other. And I'm like, okay, I understand that, but you have to understand something about me. It's not going to change. It is what it is. Like, it wasn't even, I was still going to work. I was a high functioning, depressed 20-year-old. And it really was seeping into like my relationships. I wasn't talking to my parents at the time. I had a kind of estranged, like I was still talking to my brother, but we weren't really close. Which, if you know me, like, not have, my brother is my brother, and that's it. We were best friends growing up. He's my little brother. Did I bully him? Maybe. Did I tussle a little bit? Possibly. Does he have a few scars from me? Yes. But did I go to bat for him? Did I fight for him? Oh, you touch my little brother? Oh. No, sir. Anywho, back to the conversation at hand. So, didn't take the Prozac. I believe I still have the prescription pad, like, prescription in my memory box. I don't know why I kept it, but I felt the need to, and so I did. And I think eventually, maybe if I talk about it in therapy, I eventually will figure out why I kept it and why I still have it. But it got to, so a lot of stuff was happening, and then eventually I had it was a series of unfortunate events. I had a terrible breakup with the person I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Then I went on a 3-month bender, which included a lot of alcohol, a lot that I should not have been on. And not caring about myself, not caring about anything, being numb to everything, and putting myself in situations that I need to be in. I have no right being in. And also somehow winding up in situations I had no right being in. Because some of the stuff wasn't my fault. But anywho, and I was like, okay, I think I'm done with this, you know. I'm getting sick and tired of it. And I was like, to my primary care, I was like, I need help. I need help. And I need it bad. And I need it now. And I went to a new therapist and psychiatrist. And, you know, the medical world of America does really like to prescribe you things. They just go, beep, 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 there you go, beep, 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 there you go. I don't necessarily like that because I don't think they were listening. But one of them decided, hey, let's actually like look and see what your serotonin levels are. And serotonin is what is your happy juice, basically. And we went into my happy juice, or like we tested it, and I got it tested another time too. I only have 18 milligrams of serotonin floating in my brain, okay? She's not making serotonin. She's not. And it could be from the fact, like from stuff from childhood, it just doesn't naturally make it, all of that stuff. It could be genetics. I wasn't really given that information. But I'm only making 18 milligrams, and a normal person has at least, I believe it was at least 50. And 50 was the bare minimum. 50 is not the most. I think it's like 200 something milligrams of serotonin. Actually, hold on. I can tell you right now how much you're supposed to have, because I do have it as a screenshot, and I do like to keep it because I'm like, that is crazy, Moraya. Okay, so my value was 18 milliliters. The standard range is 56 to 244. I wasn't even making the bare minimum happy juices in my head. My brain did not know how to be happy, so I was depressed. But I had learned from growing up, being told no one cares about your feelings, how to be a high-functioning depressed person going off pretending like I was. It just came naturally to me, and like people were like, you're not depressed, look at all the stuff you're doing. I go, actually scientifically I am depressed, okay? I don't know how to be happy. Can't, the numbers are there. But at that point I was like, oh, okay, yep, it's time to go on antidepressants. And so I did. They tried to switch it to Zoloft at one point, and when I tell you, when they switched me to Zoloft, I went through a whole psychotic break. Zoloft put me into a psychotic break. It was bad. I was sleeping under my desk. I didn't remember a conversation I had 24 hours ago. I literally would look at people and be like, I don't know who this is. I was like, hold on a second, and the drowsiness, and it was like I was going through withdrawals. It was not good. I'm going right back to my doctor. You're putting me back on, I believe, what is Lexapro, and we're staying there. I am not staying on this. It was crazy, and people were like, you're acting weird and all this stuff. I normally act weird. I do act a little weird, but Zoloft weird was out of this world. Never again. Never again. And so, back onto Lexapro. We're going to keep calling it Lexapro because I really do think that's what it is. And back onto Lexapro. And then last year, your girl decided after her birthday that she was no longer going to take antidepressants, and went off her antidepressants cold turkey, which I don't suggest. The withdrawals were for 3 weeks. I was sweating, I was cold, I was like, I have a fever, I don't know what's going on. I went cold turkey. I finished that last pack, didn't ask for another one, so it wasn't like I could microdose it. I couldn't microdose nothing. I went cold turkey, and my body was like, what are you doing to us? So that was great. Actually, sorry, I said November. That was September-ish. And after I decided to go off my antidepressants, one of the most, well, then my grandma died. And when I say I wish I had my antidepressants through this whole thing, I haven't gone back on. When I say, this is the second episode, I'm crying now. When I say I wish I had my antidepressants for this, I wish, because I decided to go cold turkey because I stopped feeling, and I stopped being Moraya, and I know I'm dramatic, I know I'm emotional, but the antidepressants were suppressing all of that slowly, just taking myself out of my body. I don't know how else to explain it. And I just wasn't feeling. I think, the least empathetic I've ever been. And I was like, I don't like this feeling. I don't feel anything. And I did not like it, and I went off of it. And I started crying again. Started crying a lot. But actual laughter and all of that. And going off of them and then losing her, I wish I wasn't feeling at that point. I wish I had them to suppress it, because oh my gosh, I did not want to feel that. And I hope no one ever does. I know everyone goes through it a lot, and especially in this world right now, we're losing so many people, and I feel selfish for saying this, but I really wish I did not have to feel that. Because that was so much emotion that I wasn't ready for. And I'm still processing, because I don't know how to process my feelings. And I cried myself to sleep for the first 3 months of this year. I still cry myself to sleep at times. I'm still crying. And it's so hard to lose someone you love, and I guess to lose it without a crutch was something I wasn't prepared for. But I still would not go back on the antidepressants. Like I say, I wish I had the crutch and all of that, but I wouldn't go back on, because I think that's part of what's helped me reconnect with myself and find myself again and find my purpose, is that I'm no longer being suppressed by the antidepressant, and I can feel what I want to feel, and it's gut-wrenching at times, but it's also helped me grow in myself and know what I want for my business, what I want for my family eventually, and husband, and what I want for my kids, and what I want my life to grow into. So I definitely think antidepressants is something that is important to have, especially for different people and circumstances. I just think it wasn't for me, and I just needed better coping mechanisms. And right now that's like the gym, or going for a walk/run, or just going and enjoying some good food with some good company and people who I know care about me. And so that journey was hard, was a tough one. And I'm glad we're over that hump. I think it's now just learning how to cope and grow from there. And that's really it. That's all we can do. And it may work for some people and not have the same effect, and that's great. But for me, this was my experience with antidepressants, and it got me through the time it needed to, and now we have to move forward and find a different avenue to be our best selves. So yeah, that I'm glad we got that. Whew, we had that talk, and I think it will definitely be something I want to talk on this podcast with, someone from the medical field, or someone who is a therapist or holistic kind of things, and see different points of view. But that was my story with it, and I hope it helped. And if you're willing to share, I would love to hear your stories about being on antidepressants or anxiety meds, and learn more about it. And yeah, as always, keep thriving, and I hope all of you have an amazing week.